corrections?
I move that we approve the minutes as drafted with any edits in discussion.
Second.
I have a motion by,
It's a solid motion. I like how you considered edits.
for, what, for the August 28th minutes. I have a motion and a second. All those in, any discussion, further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, declare the motion carried unanimously. Let's see. Oh, I'm trying to help. That's why I paused. Justin made the motion and
I got that
Colleen.
one.
Okay. Because some of them she can't hear, so we're trying real hard to be more clear. And she may, I told her to interrupt. Beth is going to interrupt if she can't
He
understand.
even made me a cheat
So
sheet.
if we're talking over each other. Treasurer's report.
Okay, can I figure out how to share the screen? Are we
We're not doing Zoom, so the
So-
way would be.
HDMI?
You need a tongle. That's all I need.
Dongle?
Dongle.
I have this adapter.
And then they
Yeah, don't ask me to make your copy.
I don't know if I don't know why the TV seems to be off.
Don't know anything about it.
yeah.
I don't know where they
No,
get
I was
turned
like-
on.
25 years ago now.
Do we have anybody in the booth?
I have one too, but I can't show you.
Yeah, but the
So it
power,
is in the booth.
the power is
There's
not.
the remote in front of
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Buttons, maybe.
You know how we turn on the TVs?
You guys should have the control panel to switch to the screen.
That, there?
Should be,
I got it right on the Crestron. The problem is
so.
Usually it's on
Yep.
when I come in.
I can't get them. Can't get them on though. Oh. Bingo.
There we go.
Bingo.
Yay!
Thank
Nice
you.
work, everybody.
Okay, so, I'm just duplicating the display so you can see all the junk on my screen. Okay, so, this was there's been several months with no change whatsoever, and this month there's big changes. And the big changes are because the fiscal 2025 has been closed, and all those estimates we made now are updated to match reality. So we're looking at 2025 right here, and all the lines in yellow are the places where the updates are adjusted. So I'm going to go first to these here. I wonder if I can make that a little bigger. Well, maybe not. Well, I hope you can see it. You all had copies of it in the package if you want to follow along on there. So the first thing we do is we do the revenue adjustments, and the orange tinted cells are the places where we put the actual numbers into, and then it just goes in and creates the corrections from the estimates automatically. So the actual surcharge was $715,600, and the estimate, by the way, was $650,000. So we went from $650 to $715. That's an increase of $65,000, which shows up right here on line 32. Cell E. It shows 65,000. I'm kind of clicking on it right here. That's right there. That's the $65,000, $600 increase because the surcharge was bigger. We had already knew what the actual state match was. It was a little larger than we had predicted that year, and there's an $8,000 increase that's actually been there for 10 months, so that's not new. There was no additional state match, so that's a 0. And then over on the right-hand side, we have the actual interest, which was again astounding. We always have been estimating $20,000. This year, it was $120,000. Or specifically $119,804. And so that's it's almost $100,000 of uptick based on the actual interest compared with the estimated. So we're at $165,000 ahead already. Then there were project closeouts, but it was only in the reserve accounts. There were none in the undesignated, so that's a 0. And then the other was administrative expenses. We always estimate $24,000, and this year the actual expenditures was $7,000. So we have a $16,000 uptick for the correction. And so the total upticks are like from right here are so that's that. And then the other thing we do is we have up on the top we have the budgeted reserve account, which is a mechanism that we can use to spend money from the estimated revenue before it comes in. So we take a guess at it, what it's going to be, we do some calculations, and then we reserve the amount. And right up in here, we've taken out $334,000 we did in the spring and $16,000 in the fall from the estimate, which was the reserve amount. And so that reduced our reserve amount from the starting 464 down to 114. And at the end of the year, on midnight on June 30th, the remainder gets flushed into the undesignated fund. So that 114.7 comes down here, and it gets subtracted there, leaving 0 in the account. And the 114 comes down here and goes into the undesignated fund. And so the undesignated fund is it ends the year at $701,000. And just for reference, we've been, up until this month, we've been carrying $400,000. And now it's $700,000. So it went up almost $300,000 based on reality correcting the estimates.
My budget.
And so that's pretty good. Down here under reserve funds, the only thing we're doing here is that the Baptist Church closed. They spent less money perhaps they raised more money than they expected in spending the CPC money last. They left $32,700 unspent. And so that rolls back into the historic reserve. So then thus this summary of 2005, we had $1 million worth of revenue rolling in. We spent and we had $1 million of new revenue, and we ended up with $2 million available to begin with. There was bond payments, 135, grants, $1,084,000, 7,000 expenses, 32,000 in returns, and so we ended the year with $807,000 on the table in our accounts. So, what happens here? Well, the ending undesignated fund, which is the $701,000, that's going to roll into the starting undesignated fund for the next fiscal year, which we'll click to that right now. So I'm going to click tabs, and
What line is 700?
it was on the 2025. It was line 20.
Okay.
No, excuse me. Line 39. The reason that there's lines in there is because some are hidden.
Wait,
So it'll be line 39. You can see the 701. You got it circled right there.
okay, that's
That roll-
42.
So, okay, 701, 424.
Okay.
That flips into there.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to switch to 2026. That 701 is now in line 20. That's the start. And that's now, I think that's a good number. That's closed, unless someone finds a mistake someplace in both this model and in the town's budget, the town's accounting model. That's the number. When we plugged all these things in, it just hit dollar for dollar with what the accounting system has, which is makes things go a lot faster. So the $701,000 there. Now, we had done the budget for 2026 up in light green. Those numbers were all, from our estimates to be updated at this time next year. And so we ended up with $565,000 in the budgeted reserve, and we spent $362. There's $203,000 left. And we did not, so that was the Ferry Street, the Fisher Park, and the Congregational Church increment. And that's all we've really done. Oh, it's almost all we've done in the non-reserve funds. So in the undesignated fund, there's our 700,000. We didn't do anything from here in May, and we have yet to have a grant request for October. But there's $700,000 sitting there undesignated for anything, to use it for anything.
Was there anything in there, or was it zero? Did it get zeroed out, or should it be higher than 701?
The 701 is there, and we didn't use any of it in May, and we haven't used any of it in October yet.
Isn't it, so maybe I misunderstand, isn't the undesignated fund similar to like the historic bucket where it can just grow as well?
Yes, it does grow.
So was there anything in there the 701 you just showed where it
what?
came from? So where was it empty and now it only has 701?
No, it wasn't empty. We just had an estimate in it. We had an estimate of $405,000, and the estimate was corrected or updated to be $700,000.
But-
Because we had 300,000.
We didn't spend
more.
anything. It's just that the number
Yep.
we were using as an estimate is now corrected.
Yep, I get that. But was the bucket previously carrying anything from previous years in it? Like the historic bucket would carry things from even more than 1 year in it?
Yes, this bucket carries everything continuously for all time.
Right. So 701 is the corrected from the estimate of last year. What about so to me that means an empty bucket got the estimate plus the corrected amount to 701. Was there anything in the bucket? So like maybe is it higher? I guess is what I'm getting at.
No, I agree, it's a little confusing, but this is where all the money goes that's not someplace else.
So in the
Right.
previous year, what was I don't know if that's what you're asking.
Yes.
The previous year, at the end of fiscal 24, what was the carryover that carried over?
In 2024, I just clicked 2024. In 2024, the remaining balance was, we ended 2024 with $640,000.
Okay, and then you
In totally in unreserved funds.
so that got pushed out and that got up to the 701, or that's
Yeah, well,
Plus
that
701.
moved to 2025.
okay.
And we granted from it or didn't grant from it. And at the end of 2025, the budgeted reserve rolls into it.
Okay.
All the unspent revenue rolls into that. And so it went from that 640 to in 2025 it was 701.
Yeah,
And in 2026 we don't know yet.
right.
But the good news is that $700,000 is available for any CPA purpose.
Perfect.
Which we'll discuss.
And also the budgeted reserve, in 2026, the budgeted reserve adds an additional $200,000 for any purpose. And so if you look on line 40 right here, we have $905,000 available for any purpose, and from those two funds.
Perfect.
And now the reserves are next.
Let me, before you move off of that, so the budgeted reserve means we haven't received that money yet.
But we can spend it.
So if, let's say we funded $904,469, where does that $203,000 come from to pay those bills?
It comes from the budgeted reserve.
But
How do you write a
we
check
don't,
from that?
the money's not there is what I'm saying.
That's the magic of the budgeted reserve. It's accounting magic.
Well,
That
how do you
is
write
very-
cash that check though?
That's
mean, obviously there are other funds within the town budget that
Yes. Yeah,
covers that.
Yes, that's true, and it covers it until the money comes in.
Right.
And it typically, much more money comes in than we put into that fund.
Right.
And like this time, it was $65,000 more than what we had budgeted.
It's just, it kind of,
That's the way it works, and it was
only in government.
it was peculiar to me too when I first learned it. But
Think of it like a credit card that doesn't give interest unless you're wrong.
It's part, you know, this, it's kind of written into these, into this Community Preservation Act, that this is the way it's done.
Yeah.
So,
No, but it's just,
It's probably done to incentivize
Head
towns
scratcher.
from not going, oh, we don't know if we have the money for that. It's probably put in there to say like, oh, you can go up to this number and we'll cover you until the reserve come in. Trying to
so,
guesstimate.
okay, I just would like to cover what we have in reserve. The open space, reserve is, sitting at say $28,000. We paid the Pelt Farm bond payment out of that. That's one reason why it seems lower than the others. The historic reserve is up to $115,000, mostly because it received the closeout from the Baptist Church to add back into it. So the we had taken the One Grafton Common bond payment from that, but we added back in the $32,000 from the Baptist Church, and so that leaves looks like $140,000 of across the reserves.
so not to jump ahead, but to jump ahead. So the $28,000 that's in open space reserve, theoretically, when we get a warrant article for this Providence Road property, will we use that and clear that account out?
We could, but we probably won't. And the reason we won't is because there's more than enough money in the undesignated fund to do it with just one transfer, one source.
Okay.
And it reduces the confusion in the accounting group if you only use one source.
Gotcha. Okay,
They, it won't beg them to make a mistake.
okay. And it's a small amount of money, so it's not like
Right.
we're really
You're right, that's
tying our
correct.
hands with a whole lot of cash. Okay,
Right.
sorry.
So, if the Providence Road project materializes, the undesignated fund can cover it.
Okay.
And that's it.
Covered.
Any,
Oh, it's one more thing I wanted to do. I wanted to show this.
oh, the graph.
Yeah, the graph. What happened to that? Oh, there it is.
Oh. Oh, this graph.
Come on.
And then that was, I didn't ask that, but I will ask that since you have on here. You did say additional state match, and the additional state match is that line for when they have additional budget?
Yes.
Where they say, okay, well, we're gonna throw you $20 million so
That's
that
right.
everybody gets an extra
That's right. That's
few
what,
thousand.
that's
So
what,
that's what that line
is
is for.
for. It's happened a couple of times. Okay, so this is the, all of our surcharges, all our state matches and all our interest. And I guess there's two things to point out. One is the state match is going down, and it's the height of the green bar, which is becoming less compared to revenue because it's down into the sub 20% range. The other notable thing is that the revenues line just seems to be marching up there. The revenue line shown on 2026 is the estimate. And so that, went up $65,000 this year, so it could do similarly next year. And the other thing to note is the interest in 2024 and 2025 has been really huge. And that's because, maybe we've got we have $1 million in ungranted funds, and much of the, we have a number of outstanding grants which haven't been paid out yet, so the cash is still there. So there's a lot of, the principal is high, and the other thing is I think the interest rates are pretty good for municipal bonds. And so those are the explanations on why the interest is so high. So, that's it. Okay, now I'm done.
Thank you.
Move we accept the treasurer's report.
I have a motion by Justin and
By
second
Jack, I think.
by Jack.
Jack already did, okay.
Any discussion? Hearing none, that's, great work, a lot of information, and I appreciate it. I know that's
You're welcome.
a lot of time and effort.
Oh,
And
and-
just also to add that you worked with Justin
Yes.
on
Yes.
some of this as well.
Yeah,
So,
Justin was watching carefully when when we made those updates of the orange cells.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that as well, and thank Ken for showing it to me live while he updated it, and I took a recording too, so that if something happens, that I can't get a hold of Ken, and if I'm doing this in the future, I can look at the recording and see how it was done.
And the next step will be, I think after the October meeting, when we have no more grants to make, we can project 2026, and that's another thing that we can walk through.
You don't have a test for you, you know. Pop quiz. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
I
All those opposed? Declare the motion carried unanimously. Publicity update, since there is no committee.
Oh, that's just me.
It
Did
is.
everybody get a handout?
Yeah.
So this is based off the feedback I was given and that Jack so kindly emailed to me. I used that to kind of just create this where it kind of lets people know what we're working on, where their money's going, nice little visuals of things that, you know, they might not ordinarily get to see. The gravestone was hard. I tried my best to get the faces in there, but
I think you got
I can see 'em.
You got that good feeling of it.
yeah.
Got the feeling.
And then going to the town clerk's office and getting those records was pretty cool, and you know, touch and feel all that. And the lift, I got to ride in the lift. That was fun. And then the back is the common, which has a ton of CPC projects all in it without having to, you know, you can see the cupola, you can see all the churches, you can see everything. So, and then the chart of, you know, do you have a project in mind? That's directly from the coalition's website. Even the quote in the middle, that's from the coalition website. So it's all very easily digestible, but hopefully gets people excited and interested in maybe thinking about projects for CPA money. And then it's also pretty easy to swap out these pictures as projects change throughout the years, and I can easily change the current projects each time. And the pie chart I made just by looking at the database on the coalition's website. So I typed in all 136 projects we've ever done.
Did you really?
Swear.
We have a spreadsheet that shows that.
Well, now I do too. So, mine is a little more rudimentary. It doesn't really account for turnbacks. That's why it's labeled as what town meeting approved funding. It's not necessarily we actually spent exactly those. You know, as we just saw, the Baptist Church returned $32,000. So it's close enough for government work, I would say. But yeah,
This is good.
thank you.
Yeah, that's very, very good.
So if you guys like it, I can go get more copies made and folded up to bring to town meeting. I just didn't want to do too many in case you guys had suggestions. But if there's no suggestions, that works for me.
Yeah,
I think it's perfect. I will move that you do that.
I'll second it.
I have
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Justin and a second by
I just want to say, I think this is extremely good, and I think that you did a good enough job displaying not only just in list form what current project we're working on, but having photos of a lot of the stuff that we've done recently. That the idea of the greatest hits list, it's not as necessary when you see right away, like this is what we're doing right now. It makes it, you don't need to anything to like prove that we've done stuff. It's you can see it.
Right. And now that I have this, as like a playground comes online, I can swap out the gravestone and put on a playground, you know, and just each town meeting make it a new kind of version. Hopefully, get people excited.
Because once Ferry Street is done, that'll be perfect because you'll see all the stuff. Like
Yep. Yep.
I do have one
I know. It was a
one
good
change
picture.
note that is
picture.
extremely
How was the lift, by the way?
It was pretty pretty cool. So you walk in one door, but then you go up the lift, and the door's then like on the other side, and it's kind of just neat being in a lift
Yeah.
that it's like open and you can. But yeah, no, and John and I went to the dedication, and that
And
was
if you
pretty good.
look, and that was, they were real pleased, and I was happy. If you look at the doorway to the left, you just see a little bit of a doorway. That's an original doorway. It goes into the meeting hall.
That's cool.
And then he was like a preservation carpenter who did all this work. And he made it look, so if that door is shut, other than it being a modern door,
Right,
the
yeah.
framing and everything
That's
matches.
so
Because a lot of times people will just put in a shorter door, it's just like they
Yeah.
just plug something in. And they did a really good job of trying to match it and make it look like it had always been locked.
It's pretty cool.
Is that the same guy that's doing the doors?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're redoing their doors out front, apparently.
So John, I do have one very, very picky thing to change on this.
Okay.
Is it a spelling mistake? Cause
Almost.
awesome.
Above the gravestone, ongoing is one word, not two.
Oh.
Does it have to be?
I-
Yeah, no, I can change it.
Like I said, it's
How many did
extremely
you print
picky.
out?
Just 10. Just 10.
Collect all
No,
these
no, no.
for
It's fine.
burning.
Colleen, I have a comment too. At the end of the current projects, you have the land purchase baseline report. It might be more dramatic if you mentioned, if you instead of that, the land purchases. The three Silver Lake conservation properties that we bought from the Robinsons, we bought all three of them. That's pretty significant.
But they're not current right now.
Well, one of them.
Cause like, so you know how I got that list? I just looked at an agenda, and
Okay. Well, they're pretty current.
no, that's fair. If you want me to
I
do
would just
that,
say, yeah, Silver Lake land purchases.
Yeah.
okay, Silver Lake Land.
Oh yeah, because
That
that's
would-
good because people
that's
know
dram-
right away.
It's more dramatic.
Well,
They don't know what a baseline report is,
Yeah.
but Silver Lake land purchases is dramatic.
I
But we
barely
want
what
them
a
to know
baseline
so they
report is.
fund it in the future, because we'll have more baseline reports.
We'll remind
the
them.
language we use and the language we say.
And I'm so happy you capitalize town comment. People don't
That
capitalize
Oh,
comment, and I always capitalize
that was one of
whether
the
it's right or
that was one of the suggestions that I forget who said it. I think it might have been Colleen. Was like, oh well, Evan's got a drone. And I was like, get one of those drone photos. Just
So that is an Evan drone photo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Evan bought a drone for the town? Or?
So I think he had his own drone, and I think the town does have a drone, and I don't know which drone took this picture.
but I broke the camera.
Pretty cool. Looks like it's up pretty high.
Evan's been going all over months and
It's pretty neat to be able to like look out and just see the town beyond the common. And
Was no wind and I crashed it. About 10 feet off the ground. Down. I'm like, wait, I'm not playing with the drone.
okay, so I can do ongoing. I'm gonna change baseline post. And anybody else speak now or forever hold your peace, because I can change things. It's fine.
It's good.
All
You
right.
can put made by Colleen on it if you really want to get
Oh, the one thing that we did talk about, like on the back, say RAV 9 or 10,
Oh, all right.
just so you know,
what?
Like
A
revision,
version number?
version.
Yeah.
like that, something like
Or a
that, so
date.
you know.
Even simply a date
Or-
would work.
Yeah. October 2025 or
I'm
something.
gonna do October 6th because that's my birthday.
Oh,
So I'll have to
I'll get you a little early. Happy birthday.
Okay. All right, we can do that.
21
put on
again?
my list.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I can finally buy alcohol. It's gonna be great.
Okay, thank you for that.
No problem.
That's awesome.
The CP3 report,
We should probably vote on it.
Aye.
did we? I thought we
You-
did.
There's a motion on the
There's a
table.
motion we can
Okay.
vote.
There's a motion.
Motion, so we had discussion, so do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? With motion carried. That's the one line I didn't put on there, vote. It's like, I can't think of it all. I got the CP3 report done on September 15th. At
Nice.
7 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, jeez.
It's due that day. It wasn't that difficult, and I think, look, I want to everything, look backwards to how to make the paperwork easier, just like the application. You know, that to have the application have the information, because there's so much stuff that they want that needs to be plugged in that may or may not be on the application in certain places, and sometimes it lets you skip over it, sometimes it does not. So that way, it's all right there, so you don't have to go to 3 different places. It's all in the application.
Perfect.
So, and all the applications are in the minutes. So,
Thank you.
made life real easy in those packet. You did the packet. You were the one that said do packets.
Packets are
So
nice.
it's all there. I don't have to go chasing for a file folder. On number 6, on November 6th, the Affordable Housing Trust was interested in meeting with us. That
So it's not necessarily going to be like a meeting, like traditionally like a joint meeting, but they're going to be hosting an event that they're inviting CPC
Okay.
to. They're going to be inviting, I think, like planning board, ZB. Everybody's getting invited to come attend the event. I have the agenda up here too. I can send out to you guys, but they're going to have. There's going to be introductions. MHP is going to be there. They're going to do a summary of affordable housing, what it is, why it's needed, and break down the stigmas, how we got into the housing crisis, and an overview of affordable housing trusts, what they can do, and things like that. Then there's going to be somebody from CHAPA coming out to speak, and how to engage locally, get support for affordable housing, creative housing solutions, and an overview of the lottery process. And then there'll be some Q&A, and that'll be it. So just like a nice
informational.
informational
And
event.
is it
Yep.
intended to be a full hour and a half or 2-hour meeting, or do you know?
It's intended to start, I think we were going to start it at, we went back and forth on start time, so don't quote me. I think we were going to maybe start it at 6:30 for like a little bit of mingling, and then the speakers start at maybe 7. But we want to be done by like 8 to 8:20. Like build in a little Q&A, but we're out of there by 8:30 kind of a thing.
Okay, because it came up, I knew, Amber had asked, and then almost at the exact same time, Beth said, they're getting room A. I said, oh no, because I think we're gonna meet together, so that would be our meeting. It's a different date, but it's like to roll our meeting or into this. Do we want to have a separate, I think, really long way of saying, do we want to still meet in November in addition to this?
So this is going to be at the community barn
Okay,
as like an event, not like a meeting like this. So I would say that one, I would love everybody to attend as a tenant of the CPC. It's a good thing to know, but also it's not going to be like a meeting setting where we can update on projects or things
Right.
like that. So
because that's, and I'm phoneless, I forgot my phone. What day of the week is this?
that is a Thursday.
So that is Thursday, so that is our regular meeting date,
We meet the 4th.
but that's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Oh,
November and
November.
December.
Yeah,
Or
I-
December.
no.
And so that was
Yeah, we always
Like you
move it
put-
for November.
as otherwise posted, so I mean, that catches it, because that's wherever our meeting is. Except for November and December, which is,
fair.
it's the first Thursday. So that was that's why I put this in here, gives us plenty of lead time. Do we wanna meet again? Because I was gonna say we could meet early, but if that's starting at 6:30, I don't think people are gonna wanna meet at 6 to do minutes or whatever. I don't know that this is gonna be following town meeting, if there's gonna be a lot of stuff. We're gonna have to meet again, which we're gonna talk about in a week or so before town meeting, so,
Personally, I would be okay with having this event count as our November meeting.
because
I
it
agree.
is our meeting night. So is that,
with that.
unless something really big comes up, which typically does not happen in November, we'll have, December, which can catch.
And I definitely think we should be posted for it just in case everybody shows up,
Right, well, that's why, I mean, to me, it's like, just to treat it like it's
treat it like it's a
a
meeting.
joint
Yep.
meeting, even though.
Yep.
It's more, you're invited to attend.
Yeah.
Not that we're helping run the meeting or.
No. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's good.
Not to throw a wrench in the spokes, but are we meeting in October? Because that's town meeting, so we usually don't meet in October, so we're not gonna meet really for 2 months.
because of the land purchase, we probably will meet before
Okay.
town meeting.
We have
That's fine.
to, we'll get to that.
So we'll get November.
I jumped
off.
ahead
That
on
might
that.
be the
We
next.
kinda get November off instead.
Yeah.
Kinda.
So October would be 2 meetings, right? It's town meeting, this meeting.
Yeah.
But when would this meeting be?
The secret
The
meeting that we
same-
haven't talked
yeah.
about yet because we're not on the agenda,
Oh,
and I
okay.
don't want to steal
Yeah.
that thunder from John.
It's,
getcha.
number,
Sorry.
number eight.
Okay.
We'll get there.
And that's why it's on there, so that we can discuss when do people wanna meet, because that's not our regular meeting time.
Okay.
And we do need, we must have a quorum.
Yeah.
Because we will
Yeah.
have assuming if we meet, we will need a quorum because we will need to vote on an application for funding for the Providence Road property, so.
And December is, what do you guys usually do for
The
December?
first
The
The
first
first
Thursday,
Thursday of the month.
Perfect, okay.
which actually I have it on my little cheat sheet. It's 12/4.
Love that.
You guys don't want
I'm really trying
the
so hard to
third,
get work
the
on.
third Thursday of November be the day before my birthday. You need to get a birthday chain going for all of our meetings.
So if it's your birthday, you have to provide the food and drink.
I'm fine with that. Bring cupcakes.
I'll bring you a pie.
I was here on my birthday,
Bless
for the
you.
first meeting, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, and you went out, and I remember. Yeah, yeah.
So the last meeting was mine.
It was,
I
and I
didn't
missed
know
it, I'm so
that.
sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't a big
Belated
one yet.
birthday.
Yeah. happy
Next
belated
year's the big
birthday.
one. The big one's next year.
30.
Plus times
No one
2.5
Yeah, yeah.
or whatever it is. I don't know.
I don't think that's right. I'm gonna go with that's probably not right.
Times 2 plus 5. How's that? 64. There you go.
Okay.
The policy. Have you?
I did not
Okay.
draft
No,
a policy
no,
on that.
and that's not a big
Wow.
urgent thing, but just that the at the last meeting, Colleen brought up that she'd be willing to work on a draft because we had talked about in terms of spending our funds, our available funds, that we spend no more than 50% of our available local surcharge for bonds, for bonded programs, so that we always would try to have a conservative approach to funding projects, and we want to have at least 50% of our guaranteed money, because we can't guarantee the state money, but we can guarantee our match money. So that way we have at least half of that available for ongoing projects, and then the bonded fund projects would be no more than 50%. And so Colleen said that would probably be a good idea to get that into a formal language and
Yeah.
adopt a policy to go with that. So
Yep.
no rush on that.
Pellfar must be dropping off pretty soon. What's it got? Less than 5 years left?
A couple years. I'd have to look at the warrant articles. It's in we put them in the warrant
I know I've
article.
seen it, but not recently. Yeah.
It might be 2 more years,
Yeah, no, it's-
maybe 5 for the townhouse.
Yeah, we're just
more
paying
for
Way more
17
for
out of
that.
20 on the Pell Farm.
So
so
thir-
3
so
more.
we-
17 out of 20.
And we're
that
on
was,
what, like
this
12
year.
for
And the
11, 12 for townhouse?
other one was 11 out of 20 on the
11.
on the common.
So we're a little more than half on the, okay. So to answer your question that you asked earlier, we will schedule a meeting. I've talked to Evan, that they are working on getting an appraisal. That appraisal is due, I believe.
October 10th.
October the 10th, which is a Friday. And so the week of October the 13th, we have that full week to meet, to vote, to receive the application and to vote. And the selectmen will vote, they don't need to schedule another meeting. They will just do it prior to town meeting, at town meeting, unless something happens really quick. This could get pushed up quicker than that, because he said if the appraisal gets in quicker, then he will have the information to us quicker. But just, to kind of go on that schedule, that it would be the week of October 13th that we would need to schedule another meeting.
So it's my understanding that the town will offer the amount of the appraisal.
Right,
but it's, by the way, that's no guarantee that the buyer will accept it,
right.
Yes.
because the buyer has named a hugely ridiculous price.
And I think that's in
And-
minutes, that we, if that,
Correct,
that we can't
we can't do more than that.
pay any more than the appraised, that's the state law,
Right.
I guess.
And so so Evan will be able to go to the buyer and say, the town, will like to buy it for this much money and no more. And they have to decide whether they want it or not.
So can I suggest that we meet on October 16th? That way, if the appraisal comes in all the way at the 10th, that gives town administrator time to go back and forth to see, will you accept the appraisal number? That's the Thursday. Because the Mondays is Indigenous People Day, so that's kind
That's
of
holiday week.
right. So that gives at least 2 or 3 days as buffer to find out, are they going to accept it? Do we even need to meet? Maybe they won't accept it, and we don't need to vote, and it's all done. You know what
That's
I
what I
mean?
was gonna
Good
say.
point,
If we
good
do it,
point.
if we do it at the end, then if the next day they say nope, we want more, then we can just say okay,
Right.
nix this. We don't need
So
it.
just to give them more time to figure out their situation. So I think the 16th would be nice.
Does that,
Yeah.
how does that look with schedules? Do people know
For when?
October 6th.
October, Thursday, October 16th? Which is is it the second?
It's the third Thursday.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I just want to double
There's a
check with
land trust
it.
board meeting that
Yeah.
night,
Oh.
but,
Yeah, I was just gonna say you informed me.
yeah.
This could be like an all Zoom at like, what time's your meeting? 7? We could do it at like
7:30,
We could do it at 6,
6.
you said at 7:30?
yeah.
Or it
Meet
could be
at
at
7.
like 6:30 or
Yeah, I mean,
6:45.
it's gonna be quick,
I mean,
right?
this is not gonna be, I mean, we can talk about it as much as we want to tonight, theoretically, to say, if we get this, to get a sense of, are people in favor of it, so that we don't have to have a whole lot of conversation other than to have a formal vote.
So John, is this the time in the meeting to talk about that?
Yes.
This is the time?
Yes.
Okay.
So you wanna do that on Zoom?
I think that would be easier because
Yeah,
then
I
everybody
think-
can
yeah,
just zip
I
off to their
agree.
respective meetings.
Because the only item on that
It's
agenda
a
would
one
be
item-
the official
yeah.
vote.
Yep.
And then
Right.
We don't
And that
have
would
to
be
have
at 6
GCTV
what are you
come
thinking,
out.
John, 6:30?
6:30, I mean, cause
Yeah.
to me, it can't be more than 15 minutes to call roll
Okay.
vote and be done. I mean,
Way to drink, folks.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a good plan.
You can Zoom at my house.
Okay, perfect.
My only question: are we too late for a town meeting warrant on it?
no.
No.
The warrant, they can open and, I don't know if it's,
I know
maybe
the
even
answer to this.
closed the warrant.
They did close the warrant,
Yes.
and they worked with council to word it in such a way that they can raise and appropriate the CPA money after town meeting.
Okay.
So they've been working very closely with a municipal attorney that it's not the preferred way to do it. This is not how we're accustomed to doing it. We typically like to have the dollar amount and where it's coming from and all of that. I was at finance committee last night. That kind of came up where some of the members were a little hesitant, not knowing which bucket it was going to come from and potentially restrictions that came with that bucket. So because this is just so out of the ordinary, we don't typically do this because of the time crunch to try to accommodate the sale. We're doing it slightly different, but all allowable.
Would we know the amount by by the 16th if we were to move?
By the 16th, we should know the amount.
We should know the
We will
amount.
definitely
We'll
know
know
the
the
amount.
amount of the appraisal,
Yes.
which is the only
The
amount.
amount of our offer is what I'm getting
No,
at.
so this is what happened. The seller asked for 450, and
Yes.
we went into a deal with that. But the town legally can't pay more than the appraised value. So whatever it comes back at, they can either take it or leave it. And if they take it, that's the number we vote on. If they leave it, we don't have to even meet.
And it seems like they've done a warrant article for this, correct?
Yes, there is
So
a warrant article.
It's in the warrant.
Article 5.
Article 5. Yes, there's a large Article 5 discussion last night.
And they did ask me to speak, and I said, I didn't feel comfortable representing CPC without
That
an
was fine.
application.
Yeah,
and
I
a vote.
don't-
That was
yeah.
correct.
And
that was
Evan
correct.
was okay with that.
Yeah.
I said, I'm very confident that the committee was supportive at the last meeting.
Didn't we vote?
We did take
We
a vote.
We voted to state our approval
That,
of
Yep.
it.
and I did a
Unanimous
very
support.
quick letter of support the morning of for the meeting for the selectmen.
Yeah, this is nobody's preferred way of doing it for sure. But at least when there are time constraints, it shows that at least we're willing to work to accommodate things.
Okay.
So.
I have a comment or so.
Sure.
Early this spring, the land trust was taking a look at this property with the idea of purchasing it from themselves. And the land trust doesn't have a whole lot of money, but they could swing something. And so we did an investigation of the property and found out it was a very attractive property for public protection. But it's all wet. The whole thing is wet. The whole thing is in a floodplain except for a 40-degree slope from the guardrails on Providence Road down to the flat wetlands. And there's no way to build on that. That's ridiculous. But the buyer had bought it in 2005, thinking he could develop it, imagining he could develop it. And for 2005, which was just before the peak of the real estate bubble, he paid too much for it in 2005, and he's held it ever since. And he, is still dreaming that he can, make a profit on it. So, in any case, the land trust also got a, commissioned an appraisal by, a professional appraisal company that's good at doing, tough open space properties like that. And the appraisal came in at $127,000 or $126,000, not the $450 he was asking. And the appraisal looked very good. It was strong. It's supported by 3 comparables, and it was a very professionally done appraisal. And the land trust took it to the buyer, to Unistar, and they said no. They rejected it, and so the discussions ceased. And then the town came across the idea and picked it up, and and we are where we are. And so I would expect that the appraisal is going to come in that ballpark.
Let's hope that 2 similar appraisals are more persuasive.
Yes, they may persuade.
Yeah.
He may decide that that that's all he's going to get for it. He can either keep it for another 30 years and not, and nothing, or else get the money and make some use of that.
It's not gonna be any less wet.
Yeah, well, there was a
No,
very good.
no, it's not.
There was a very good
Absolutely.
quote. The community advocate did a piece on this, and there was a good quote from Andy Jefferson. And when we were thinking, like, not pie in the sky, but like years down the road, if we got this, what could be enhanced there? And thinking like maybe fields. But he said he went there and he's like, no, it gets wet, it stays wet.
I took Andy and Matt on a tour of that property.
Yeah.
When they right after their first meeting.
Yeah.
And I showed them the whole thing.
Yeah, I just like, and I think we talked about this last month when we talked about why we'd want to get this. I just like the idea of the open space that the town wants to preserve being in our hands, so that if someone were to want to put stuff there, and we all know like this is a bad idea, it doesn't go through the trouble of getting all torn up and having stuff brought down there, and then they realize, oh wait, we can't actually build anything here, and then they leave, and now it's all crummy.
They can build recreational structures.
Yeah.
On on stilts and using pole foundations, and it's a beautiful spot right on the river. It's on the canal, and so it's good for the town to buy that.
I was thinking having both sides of the river in the
Yeah.
allotted space.
Okay. The other thing that another part of the conversation Wednesday night at FinCom was, what would it be for? If the CPC is going to pay for it, it has to be for one of the CPC purposes, and it's. They can not. People who haven't seen it can imagine that it could be used for affordable housing, but
No way.
true.
I don't think-
I'm saying people who haven't seen it imagine that.
Can you
And so-
legally build on wetlands like that?
No, but they could put it on stilts on the side of the hill like it's in the Malibu Hills of California.
Which would add, I would think, considerably to the
Or
price.
not. But anyway, so the town was talking about, mentioning the concept of restrictions, because it has to have a restriction if the CPC purchases it. And the restriction can be open space, agriculture, it can be affordable housing, or historic. And so it's gonna have to be one of those.
Could it be recreation?
I don't think there's a recreation restriction, but that would come under open space probably.
Because
Just because I wouldn't want it to become like just conservation in case they did want to put like a small little field
Well,
someday for some small sport that
that-
doesn't exist yet.
The conservation restriction can be written to provide for that.
Okay, cool.
And so it would do that, and that's the way it would cover recreation properties.
Okay.
because for the Robinson properties, didn't we say passive recreation?
Yes, and so that's fine. So we have always specified the purpose, so it should probably specify, well, the warrant won't specify it. But, perhaps our vote could.
But that's when we, so that's important that you're here then.
Yeah, our vote we might be able to specify it in this committee's vote, because it needs to have, we need to know what kind of restriction it needs to have on it. And someone's gotta carry the restriction, someone's gotta do a baseline report. And so those same things will happen
Does
with this too.
Baseline report, would it say this is what the restriction should be, or
No.
they follow what?
The baseline report says,
The
it
purchase
describes
says
the
it
property
is.
as it exists,
Okay.
and doesn't have say anything else.
So if anyone changes it, you have something to go back to.
So if it's gonna have a conservation restriction, it would be nice to pay the organization that has to do that. Because the CRs cost money too, but those typically haven't been paid for. So, I don't know how, we don't, Article 5 doesn't specify that at all. And so, that may need to be done in the spring.
To do another baseline, you mean?
Yeah, it'll need a baseline report, and it'll need the conservation restriction to be written up, which is quite a document.
That's a very good point.
Would the land trust have an idea of what the cost would be to do a conservation restriction?
I think that, it's in the $2,000 range,
Yeah, last
On
baseline
top
report was
of the
2500.
baseline?
yeah, which is
Okay.
about the same. So maybe that could be backfilled in the spring.
Just like $5,000, just to be.
And also just if there were people who were concerned with just the conservation restriction being on, which I'm sure is not many, having those open waterways like that be protected is very important for like environmental reasons, ecosystem reasons, wildlife reasons. So if there was pushback, like, well, don't we want to use this for something? It's like, it's going to be used for something. It's just more passive.
And the restriction would include the future ability to put in a hike bike trail that would
Yes,
be
yeah, they-
part
yes,
of the
yes,
Boston or the Providence to
Conservation restrictions almost all,
Worcester.
every one that I've ever heard of includes all kinds of passive recreation.
Okay.
But what if we want active recreation,
Active in what sense?
like a soccer field?
ATVs. Get it.
No, you know what I mean? So like, because this is an unconventional way of doing it, and we do have town council who has weighed in on this, I think before we try to craft a motion where we're gonna create the restriction, I'd like town council to weigh in on this, so we don't,
So we need to know we need to know specifically what we should be voting on, and that's what you're saying.
it would be helpful, because we already know it's coming from the undesignated fund, so we don't need to worry about the bucket necessarily creating the restriction, but like you're saying, it's something that's a requirement of the project that we should have it
Yeah,
like
the
tagged.
The act says we've gotta do it.
Right, but let's say like, the Ferry Street, park, that's a recreation park. What restrictions on that?
It wasn't a purchase, it wasn't a land purchase. That's the operative.
So so because it's a land, so when we buy I guess I don't want to limit ourselves. I want to keep it as open as possible with the intent of it being used for either hiking or ATVing or soccer fields, and not to say that those things will ever happen. It's been very clearly explained that it might not. I just don't want to completely eliminate it either by accidentally taking a vote where we've eliminated it. So I guess I just want that motion to be crafted in a way to achieve what you're going for, but also keeping it as open as possible.
Right, so what I don't quite understand about this whole process, is that, the warrant article is there, and it mentions a number of funding sources with CPA being one of them. but that's it. That's as far as it goes. And then we're going to come and approve a grant.
Well, they can substitute a motion
And
on the
we're gonna,
floor.
we're gonna
right?
approve a grant, but our grants need to be approved by warrants or articles in the town meeting. And I'm
So,
not
but
sure-
Article 5 is that for us this
Is it?
time. That's what they've been working with council to do. That's why it's very untraditional, and it was explained that
And
this
so
is
that will
not
cover the
that will
approval of the
cover us,
CPC
our grant. Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Again, not necessarily the way we want to make a habit of doing it. This is but that is why they've been working with council, which is why I mentioned maybe
So it
before we
covers
take
appro-
our motion to just
it
approve the
covers our
grant, if we're
approve-
going to throw a
So
restriction in.
when we make a grant, we usually specify what that grant is in the article. And so are we gonna write a faux article that specifies?
We're not going to write any article. No.
So when we approve something, we're not approving an article.
We're approving an application.
Correct.
The article, we're doing it backwards. So the article's written,
Yes.
we're just approving the application that created the warrant article.
And based
But the
on this
warrant article doesn't
discussion-
really say anything, except
that's-
that the CPA may fund it,
That's
among
in-
other,
that's
among other
on purpose.
sources.
Yeah. And
In
based on
case
this discussion,
there are
it sounds
other-
like
And so I guess my question is, what are the words we're going to vote on?
Exactly, because you need to kind of specify a little bit, like what it's gonna, what we're hoping it would be used for.
We'll say 47
So-
acres more
so
or less,
there-
Epilepsy,
whatever.
soccer fields, whatever.
So I guess I would just go back and look at an old application for a land purchase, like when the Robinson property, when we voted on that, I would just go look at that motion and things like that, and then tweak it to be specific for this one. We never got into all of the high level details of
I
what could
don't
happen.
remember
I can find it.
restrictions.
So we're gonna need that, or else that meeting will be a lot more than 15 minutes.
well, I would,
You
I
better
was
come over then.
based on this discussion, I was seeing this as two separate warrants, as one for this town meeting for just the purchase or accepting the application for them to go purchase it, and then another next spring to do the baseline and that stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I- yeah, call it.
That is
The
correct, but
purchase, just us saying we will take the money to purchase that based on this application because we're going backwards would be this fall. And then for the spring, once we actually have time to meet together, to get with the town and actually talk, then we would apply restrictions. Then we would talk about what the land would be used for. But because we're in such a unique, odd situation, it's like, all
But
right.
Can we put restrictions on it at that point? Do the restrictions seem to be clear
and,
at
and
this
that's where
point?
checking with town council I think is going to
That's-
be important,
I'll check tomorrow
just to make sure we're doing it
Yeah,
the way it needs
it
to be
would
done.
be. It's
to make sure
yeah.
that that's included in all their discussions, because the concern is that we do have to have a restriction, that we wanna make it, I'll say, we would like to see, not necessarily that we voted, that it could be used for playing fields, that we wanted passive recreation, we'd like open space, that, correct?
We want if we have to place any sort of, and I'll use air quotes, restriction on it at this point, we want to work with town council to make it as broad as a restriction can be. Because our ideal situation with this unique warrant is you do the two separate ones so that we can actually have the time to talk and decide. But if town council comes back and says, no, guidelines, laws say you have to apply a restriction, then we'd work on how do we make it as open as we possibly can.
I think that if we just specify it for use, for open space and recreation
Use.
in general,
Yes.
open
say
space and
passive
recreation
or-
purposes, then we have done, I think, what we need to do.
So
But the
article.
issue, the problem I have with this, when we write warrants, and the warrant supersedes anything else, the words in the warrant. If we make a silly mistake in the warrant, that's just too bad. That's what it is.
Stuck with it.
Right.
And so it's the actual words in the warrant that are operative, not anything we've discussed or said when we voted for it.
So the warrant has maybe the answer right here. It says, to authorize the select board to enter into all agreements necessary to officiate said acquisition, convey a preservation restriction that meets all the requirements of letters and numbers, and to raise and appropriate borrow transfer the available funds from the community preservation or otherwise provide a sum of money. So it does say to
Okay.
convey a preservation restriction. So
Okay.
I think that's the wording we should use.
I
It's a
think we-
preservation restriction.
I think that we
And
can
we're
we
done.
stay as close to that as we can.
Yeah, that's broad enough without,
The
You know.
lawyers lawyered. all
and we don't
over
need
it.
to waste
Right.
lawyers' money or time.
My only other question
preservation
on that, based on
restriction.
hearing the that article's language, that might be a town council thing, is that says for the select board to raise.
I only read part of it. I didn't read the whole article.
Okay.
Just pull up Article 5 and read Article 5.
Yeah, I'll just say my thought anyway. I'll read it later after this meeting. But it says the select board can raise, but it doesn't make any. From what I just heard, doesn't make any mention of us being able to make an approval on our end. But yeah, I'll read the whole article. If that's solved, that's fine.
Is that,
So this specific Article 5 has been worked over, that it is going to meet all of our requirements necessary for us to give the money that is determined if the sale goes forward.
Okay.
That is all I know for positive, is that,
oh, this is the current Article 5.
this is current
Okay,
Article
okay,
5. So this is
gotcha.
what's gonna go before, so if, there's a lot of ifs. If the appraisal comes back for either 450 or less, and the buyer accepts it, and we vote to agree to all, if all of these conditions are met, then this will go before a town meeting and it'll be golden.
So this has deleted the need to ask town council. They've
Yep,
done
we
it.
do not need, it has a preservation restriction, and that is the language we will use to match the language that they are using, and
Nice and broad.
yes.
Good. Okay. Any further discussion on Article 5? Okay, project updates. Town records.
So I haven't heard any more from her. The last I heard from her was in, was it July? So she's working on it. She said she would get back to us after she's heard back from Green
I
Drake.
saw her yesterday and she couldn't have been nicer, so
Yeah.
just let me.
She's been very busy with tracking down minutes for
Yeah,
all the
that's what I was
committees
talking
and
to her
stuff now
about.
too.
And
So
she's like, I don't want you to feel pressured. This has been, all of a sudden thrown at you, so.
yeah, no. She has all the information she needs. She said she'd get back with me. So if I haven't heard from her, by some time towards the end of next month before our meeting, I'll reach out just to find out where she's at.
Okay, historic gravestones. I have, I reached out to the historical, and I haven't come back, and I don't know if they have to have the committee, the historical society decide. I did call and leave a message with, I don't remember, somebody at the front desk. They said they'd pass it to the right person to find out if there are restrictions from Mass Historical on replicating the stone and then bringing the stone inside. But I did talk to Evan, and Evan said yes, if we, if there is not a better place for it, we can find a place in the municipal center for the double portrait stone.
Gravestone in the municipal center.
Yeah, I don't love
That's-
that,
that's
but
creepy.
It's so cool.
it's great for the trick or treating event. But so because I was working on this, and my husband doesn't usually pay a lot of attention to Grafton stuff. He's like the average Grafton resident, which is a lot of fun for me because then I bounce ideas off him. But he looked at that headstone and he goes, "What is that?" And I had to tell him all about it. And he found this place in Bellingham. Have you talked to them? So it's called Gravestone Guardians, and it's a non-profit organization that's dedicated to cleaning, repairing, and restoring headstones. And so I figured that would be a pretty cool idea to maybe keep it out of the municipal center.
I'm with you.
If you want, I can text you the website, and and Bellingham's not that far. At least you're not going all the way to Harwich or wherever you were going.
No, that's
That's
the
the
Cape is
signs.
done.
Yeah.
But that's also, I've talked to
Yeah, right.
Sunshine, so that
Okay.
brought it closer.
But so anyway, he found that based off looking at this. So these are already, killing it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so if you wanted to maybe add that to your gravestone list of things, and good job, Justin.
Justin found it?
That's my husband's name.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, but her
Yeah.
husband is Justin.
Yeah. Yep.
95 North Street. I don't know, you didn't get any more, but as Justin and I were talking that, just driving up and down North Street recently in the last month, you can see that there's been a lot of activity. It really looks like it's getting landscaped and you're starting to see what looks like a park.
They put in all sorts of posts. It looks almost like a bridge that they kind of,
Yeah,
it's
you know,
over
like a
drainage
trail,
that
like
they have
or driveway.
going in. So, yeah, they won't let you in to actually see the property, but
But it looks
from the
like
end, they've been doing a lot.
there is movement.
I'm excited for it. It's gonna be my new walking.
I was gonna say Paul is the perfect scout for this because it's right near the walk. Our walk.
It's perfect. It'll be a 2-mile route for me.
Ah.
It'll be perfect.
Good.
Housing Authority.
We the only update I have in terms of amount requests, we plan on making a request for one of our 667 properties, which is reserved for elderly individuals. So we plan on making a request from that. We don't have the exact amount right now, or at least when I convened with my executive director, she didn't have it in front of her. Our attorneys are currently reviewing the policies we have on the books now for the Jim Gallagher Rental Assistance Program, so that we have all of our ducks are in a row when we go to the CPA and say, this is what we have, how can we broaden this? So instead of us sending it to them saying, hey, it's not legal, here's what you have to change, giving it back to us changing it, hey, is this okay? We're gonna make sure that this is more than just our in-house policy now, so that when we go to the CPA with it, it's already all set for them to take it and run. We are at our end of year. We did our annual plan, so we're all just going forward. So going well. We're still running down the exact numbers. Like I said at last meeting, we have the figure that's over $12,000, but we don't know if that includes the original 10,000 for the pilot program or if that's all from this 20,000. We're kind of doing backwards math to see what number we're at. So we have it right now in our policy that once it gets down to 5,000, I will submit an application to bring it back up to 20,000. So that's all I have to-
Thank you. Justin, any update from Cisco?
Nothing since the last meeting that I'm guessing you gave when I wasn't here.
Okay. So I think, for us, until they use Mass Historical money, it really is not gonna be an issue for us.
Right.
So, and that will take them a while to go through those funds. Congo,
No, I have heard nothing more from them either. They told us last time we heard from them that they were, not going to be starting again into the spring. The only question I have is whether they found somebody to do the work. So
I did see Andy at the lift dedication and talked to him briefly about
yeah, what do you
all
have to say?
that. Well, I mean, it's still not,
Still don't have it finalized.
That-
I
yeah.
figured once they had it finalized, I would have heard from them.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
so for the lift,
The lift, they're just about done. I don't know if that last
Just
invoice.
about. I wrote in the thing. It's not done.
No, I mean as far as the invoices being processed and all, they got to pay for it.
okay.
Too.
Okay.
But I don't know if that last invoice I sent was paid. I haven't heard back.
when was that?
A week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they takes them a week to pay the invoice, but it got submitted.
I think I saw your approval, but usually we see something from him too, right? Once he's paying them out,
No.
no, is that just all right? It just would be nice to know like when the check is going to go out, so you can tell.
Typically, it's like if they're due Thursday, I don't know if it's 3 or whatever time, Thursday, that's the cutoff, and then the checks are cut the next Thursday.
So if you don't make it by Thursday, then it's going to be 2 weeks.
If I probably
instead
don't
of
have
a
it by
week.
Tuesday, it'll be a whole another week.
Okay.
For me to get it,
Right.
for Beth to then to
So
get
it's
it
probably
in.
been paid by now, then. Or will be this week at least.
Ferry Street Playground, I don't know any.
So I've seen pictures of it from people who live nearby. It looks like it's coming along nicely. I don't think it's officially opened yet. Rec is really active online, so when I'm sure they'll post that it's done or that you can go on it. I don't think that that's the case yet, but they are actively installing it.
We got 2 projects going on with 95 North too. Yeah. Yeah. Busy.
And the baseline report,
It's done, Concom has accepted it, I don't know whether the invoice has been put in or not,
Yeah,
but
I haven't seen it.
it's done.
okay. And she's usually really good about sending bills. From Concom, so I'm sure when, do you guys submit that? Has that bill been submitted? The
Yes,
invoice?
that's what's, I don't know whether,
Okay.
whether the land trust has
Done
set
that,
up-
yeah.
done
Okay.
a submission or not yet,
Okay. Okay.
but it'll be shortly.
Okay,
Anytime
so
now, it's done.
that's almost, that can come off. Affordable Housing Trust.
I'm gonna say what we talked about earlier is the update, because that's our last
Yep.
meeting was all just geared towards that event and getting ready for it.
Is it gonna be a public thing or just
Oh, yeah,
committees?
public. Nope,
So it's
every-
anybody and everybody?
It's everybody's invited to come, the public, but we really wanted to target people to come. We're gonna reach out to other affordable housing trusts in the area too to try to get it. You know, we really want attendance at this because of the having the speakers come out. We don't want them to talk to just me.
You said it's at the community barn.
That's yep. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. We were looking into beer and wine. I don't think it's gonna work out, but that's being looked into.
CPA project
That's what
sign.
I was thinking.
I did have a nice conversation actually today with Bree, and this is a new person from Sunshine Sign.
Oh, okay.
And I talked to her about the signs that we're looking for. One, to replace the sign at South Grafton Elementary that disappeared. A sign for
Really?
the
On the chain link fence there?
gone.
Where would that? It was
Somebody
not
just
a.
stole it.
How would they steal it?
It's
That
all
thing-
it is that were little clips.
Yeah, but
that were
what a
clipped
weird
on.
thing to
That's
steal.
so weird, yeah.
You didn't? Did you check with the office to make sure they didn't take it down?
Or that the clips break and it's
No,
inside.
No, I mean, because I also noticed there's a pole that says this is for ages, da 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 da, that comes with the playground equipment. And I noticed on the ground it looks like this black round, half round thing. Somebody had been beating, vandalizing it and broke off. It was an edging, the black edging that came off of that sign.
No way.
Half of it. So to me, that's, there's not any security lighting, there's no cameras. People are there all the time. They go and they're baseball, softball fields, and people are there constantly. So you never know who's coming and going. So,
Maybe they ought to put some cameras out there.
Yep.
so, but I'm gonna meet with her next Thursday. It's the first time she can meet. So, 4:30.
People would freak out with the camera facing children playing.
And Lake
But it's
Wildwood, I've not heard anything more. So
Just getting
that's-
cars coming out of the parking lot to narrow it
Motion to
down.
adjourn?
Motion. I have a motion to
Second.
adjourn by Ken and a second.
I got it. Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Chat by chat.
Good meeting,
Motion
John.
carried. Thank
Good
you.
meeting, John.